Okay, so you finished the ranch and you're pissed off. Why?
Like, okay, so a little bit of explanation. Like, before this season, The Ranch was probably one of the best sort of sitcoms that I've. It wasn't even really like a sitcom, more of like sort of like a well, kind of okay. The Ranch was a story of this like Ashton Kutcher character. He comes back. He was a failed football star, and he starts living at this ranch. And it's probably one of the only real sort of shows like it, where it's sort of like a drama sitcom sort of thing, where it kind of shows like Red America, sort of as it is.
So the
It
rural
doesn't like
America.
demonize people. What?
So it's like showing the side of rural America.
Yeah, rural America, people that are Trump supporters, people that are Republicans, and it's not in a negative connotation. Like they make jokes and stuff once in a while, but it's not like if you look at the Colbert Report, like where they're just lampooning like right wingers, it wasn't like that. It was like a humanizing sort of show. And yeah, the Bo Bennett, which is played by who's that dude from the Great Lebowski, and I think a few.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah, like I love that actor. Like
Yeah.
he does a good job. Like he's probably one of my favorite actors. And he plays this like rancher, and he's had this farm, the Bennett farm, for years. And he's like this gun-toting sort of guy. And
Mm-hmm.
guns
Super
on there,
Republican. Like
yeah.
super Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, like they kind of joke about like some of his conspiracy theories things, but like it's not like other shows where they make him like an actually like the sort of husband. He's not an idiot for the most part. Like he's a human, and then
Yeah.
he had his wife, which they end up getting divorced later on. But for the first few seasons, it was his wife, and she's kind of at least when she first started out, she's a bit more liberal. But my sort of issue with the final
Yeah.
season
Well, the
is
last season, yeah, they made her like she went off the rails in this last season.
so not only she's always been a bit like pot smoking and stuff, but no, so she ends up turning into a fucking lesbian, and out of
Yeah.
nowhere, like they've been married for like 40 years, and out of nowhere she goes to a fucking hippie commune, and I think it was like Florida or something,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets a lesbian lover. And not
Oh.
only that, then she's like anti-gun. Like they've lived with like guns and shit. Like, and that's been like a central thing. Like they did not demonize gun owners. They had like responsible gun owners in this part in like this show. And then like they had this whole episode where she like convinces Bo to go and not put his gun in his truck. And it's just like he doesn't fight it like I feel like his character actually would. Like he doesn't really put out as much good arguments. Like he does kind of fight it, but he kind of concedes at the end. I didn't like that. That's uncharacteristic of Bo Bennett. It just seems like with her whole character, they kind of just took a hard left turn, because it was probably the only like I think it was a Netflix original series. You can correct me if I'm pretty sure it was a Netflix original series, and it was probably the only one that didn't have like up until the last season, there was no like token gay character, token like interracial relationship. It was just rural America, one horse town ranchers, doing their sort of shit. Ashton Kutcher's character, he was kind of like, he would be the Homer Simpson if anything. And he wasn't really political as like, Bo was. He was just kind of an idiot. And he had his brother in there, and that whole story is interesting too, because I looked this up, and apparently, his brother on there, his name was like Rooster, and he got sort of killed off literally because there was some like allegations going on over there, and I kind of didn't like how they did it, but if they're gonna have to do something, it was probably the best way they did that. And they had talked about a lot of issues too beforehand, like the opioid crisis. The one character, she was like a drug addict, and then the final season, they just kind of, I feel like it felt like rushed, honestly. Like apart from the whole like liberal like propaganda bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of like I feel like they almost should have made that into like they could have probably got another 2 seasons out of it, but I feel like maybe Netflix wanted to rush it because it was humanizing the right too much, and there wasn't as much diversity as they would have liked. Because outside of Bo's wife or Maggie or whatever, and that felt fucking forced. There's really no like super liberal characters and like lesbians and stuff.
Yeah, she goes on this fucking sorry, Alex. She goes on this fucking tirade. Maggie, the character, the main mom character. She's like, I'm sick of people saying they need an assault weapon to defend themselves. And I'm sick of turning on the TV and seeing another mass shooting. Bo, why aren't you fucking sick of it? Yeah, that's like I'm like, oh, they had to fucking do that shit. The last fucking season, they had to do that shit.
God,
I feel like if they want to talk about that, there's a way to do it. But
it's called another show.
Well, she already had an established character, and that just was not like her. She was more like, if anything, she was more. And then she just became a full-on like super fucking lefty.
No, Alex. She was having a character arc, and she changed as a character, and this shows the show progressing.
Yeah, it was completely.
I thought, I thought when Maggie told Bo that she's going to live in a commune or whatever, Bo's like, oh, that sounds like communism, and he's like, I fought that shit in Vietnam, and I'll fight that shit. Like it was awesome. I liked it. I'm not sure. I forgot how he responded. Like I forgot how he responded.
He just accepts it. He's just like, okay, you're gay. Okay, you live in a commune. Yeah. And then it kind of like makes like the Ashton Kutcher character. He's the only one's like, hey, wait a second, this is kind of fucked up, and he's kind of demonized for that. Which I don't like. If your mom just like out of nowhere, like she divorced her dad for like probably a year or two at this point, and she decides to give up all her possessions into a commune and then marries or like
and go lesbian
into a relationship with like a fucking woman. Like,
first of all, that makes no fucking sense. Like, let's start with that. It makes no fucking sense. Has that ever happened?
She wasn't like Republican beforehand. She was always a bit like leaning, but she didn't really have any problems with the guns. Until the last season.
Why is it though that this is a thing where like they always do this where they'll be like, and you'll see news headlines, they'll be like, this show tackles X issue. Why do they have to fucking tackle every issue? Like, why? Well, I think it could be interesting, let's say, for a pro-gun show to tackle mass shootings. Maybe that's interesting, just maybe. But why do they always feel like it has to, and then they do it? You know what I mean?
Well, I think for the ranch, that last season was damage control because they, I think there was the character Rooster. He ended up getting kicked off the show because of some fake rape charge.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, and so that was like damage control. That last season probably was damage control, which once Rooster left, Rooster was one of the most popular characters on the show, and then once he left, it was like, well, fuck, we have no more creativity on this show anymore. So I think there was a lot of like, I don't know, there was a lot of, what's the right word for it? There was
uncertainty.
Well, there was definitely uncertainty, but I'm saying they had to create, because I think Rooster was also one of the executive producers of the show too. So he went into a lot of the creativity that came into the show. So once he left, I think they had to kind of, the Netflix, the higher ups were like, oh, we need to create something at least somewhat watchable for this last season. And so here we are.
Like honestly, I do feel that like once he left, like part of the show just kind of died with that.
Oh, it did. Definitely.
And it became like a lot more depressing too, because like even before he was dying, there was like a bit of I think there was an issue or something with the ranch, and then he dies on top of that. It's like, oh shit. Like
Yeah. And then they replace him with Dax fucking Shepard. I'm like, fuck this show.
I just felt so weird. Like I was waiting for him to like figure out that he's not actually like the son, but like Bo just accepts it. Like that just seemed weird. I thought there was gonna be an arc too, where it was like maybe he was lying about service because he was so shifty about that. You know. But that was one of the things I did kind of find interesting though. Is like they did tackle that one like suicides and like returning soldiers in the last season. But I think that would have been fine. Like that they could have tackled that issue there and kind of left it, and then just stop piling on other issues, not like gay marriage and all this other bullshit in there. Like when it just did not feel like that's what the show was about. It was a show that it really wasn't that political. Like it was a humanizing show for all involved. Maybe once Rooster left the circle, his character was, Netflix, you're probably right. They probably did decide to go and put their ass in there and just been like, oh, well, we need to go and start talking about this. And then like the thing too with like his character and, like he also wants to get with like Rooster's ex-girlfriend. Like that was a little bit fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you, because this is becoming a review at this point, how would you guys rate the final season of The Ranch?
F.
Oof.
Yeah, like I don't know, I'd probably give it like
D minus. It was
like a 3 out of 10. I just felt like it resolved it. Like to be fair, like it did put in a lot of loose ends, but a lot of them it kind of left open. I feel like it shouldn't, like, because he gave Bo the farm back, but he sold all his cattle. So what the fuck are they going to do with the farm? Like that was a pretty big glaring hole. Like, are they going to, like, what the fuck's going to happen? Are they going to like rent the cattle? Like,
well, speaking of gay stuff in TV shows, I have an article that came in that says The Eternals, which is a Marvel show or movie or whatever, says will feature Marvel's beautiful, quote, beautiful first gay kiss. Quote, everyone cried on set.
Of course.
I'm sorry, guys. Why, again, this is becoming a thing where it's like everything has to have a gay kiss. For all this shit I give the Rise of Skywalker, which, have you seen that yet, Alex?
No.
Well, the gay kiss in that, it's like, it's kind of subtle in the background, but they have to make it such a big fucking deal now. It's like, I mean, like, everyone's like, oh, we're crying on set. I'm like, guys, gay marriage has been a thing for fucking like a few years now. Like, why is everything like worth crying over? I mean, our society's already so accepting and fine now. Like, they act like it's like we're making some big achievement in human history with a kiss on a Marvel show. I mean, it's ridiculous. But
it's probably like Star Trek and that interracial kiss. They had that happen. Now, okay, well, we need to. I mean, what's it gonna be next? Like the first like transgender sex scene?
Yeah, you're probably gonna have something like that.
Is that gonna be the thing where like after that, like the first one of like someone like banging a poodle or something?
Well,
like,
another
what
show.
What are they gonna do to go and raise the? Like, are they gonna perform like a sex change operation in a show and then like make you watch it?
No, you
like,
say that.
Like, honestly, I don't want to watch like two men kissing. Like honestly, I don't find that entertaining. Like I'm a straight man, I don't want to have to watch that.
It doesn't bother me, but what bothers me is when it's forced and like shit like in The Ranch where it just makes no fucking sense. And they do it for diversity points. It's stupid.
It just feels so fake with how they like resolve everything like magically at the end. It just seems such bullshit that if this end of season 3, they had this like they've been having this issue probably for the last 2 seasons before like the last 3 seasons, I guess, with this like one like conglomerate farm, and like the owner of that ranch, it ended up just kind of conceding like, hey, we feel like she kind of gives up and like goes back what she sold to her to go and get her to not sue him for like literally bombing like a fucking like what was that, like a it was like one of those things, a dam that she built. Like they literally blew up a fucking dam, and she like, and they give them the fucking dam, like they give them the one farm to appease them, and then in the last season, his like cows get like fucking chlamydia or something. Like I'm not even joking. They literally get a fucking STD, which I didn't even know that was possible. But I'm not a rancher. And then she's trying to go and sue him for then take the other farm for it. And then they end up like finding some bullshit about how it was her cows that actually gave his cows the fucking STD. And the whole thing was like they never kind of mentioned this. The only reason that the cow came over there was because Bo kind of snuck the fucking bull over. So that I don't know how she didn't just be like, oh well, stole our bull and had to impregnate them, so we're not going to be liable for it. Like I don't know, that whole thing just seemed like it was too convenient, that to end that. And I felt like they kind of put themselves in a corner because all this shit is going on, then Rooster's character dies. And I don't think they ever should have brought back the heroin addict's like ex-husband. That felt like he should have been dead. He should have just been gone after they warned him off the first time. Bring him back, it just created this whole situation like who shot him. And that it made a good cliffhanger, but I feel like the character that actually shot him, I was a bit surprised that it happened like that. I don't know, man. It just really took a big turn once Rooster left, and then once Maggie turned lesbian. Like up until that point, though, it was really a model show of what I'd like to see more of. Because you'd have responsible gun owners, red, Republican voters, and it just didn't really demonize them too much. And then boom, it's out of the blue. Like it was such a good show. Like honestly, me and my girlfriend watched a lot. It was, it was the only show like I think, well, not the only show. I guess they had
Last Man Standing.
That kind of went with the same sort of appeal. But in a world full of, Democrat shows and, forced like lesbians and gays and all that other shit, it was just something different.
It's hard for me to watch shows like this anymore. It really is. I'm just like I lose. Like I get kind of like with the music industry, they don't make shows like they used to, and I just kind of. I find myself wanting to watch reruns of old shit.
Like if you didn't include the last season, how do you rate the series as a whole? Like not including that bullshit.
Oh, not including the last season. Oh yeah. Well, I'd give it a 7. Give it a 7.
Like up until Rooster dies, I'd probably, I think it was a good, like it was really good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a watchable. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was a good watchable show. It was good. And then they completely fucking, this last season, they completely fucked it up.